Mountain Rescue Team volunteers like Gordon and David provide an extremely valuable service for Lake District walkers. Meet Stephanie Coolshed. Last year, Stephanie decided to go walking in the Lake District, but her weekend away in the great outdoors didn't quite go according to plan.
So I'm Stephanie. I work for a disability charity in London. I've always loved the Lake District and walking in the lakes, and I've got friends who feel the same. So back in October, I was up in the Lake District for a weekend with a group of friends. We walked from Borrowdale, we walked up onto the eastern end of the High Spy Ridge. And then on the descent, we were coming down a really steep stretch. I'd been really careful over the rocky bits, and then got down from the rocky bits and I just hit a bit of bog, a really slippy bit of bog. My right foot shot from under me and I fell backwards and sideways over my left ankle and heard a crack. So I was left basically stuck in a bog, and I had to crawl out on all fours because I knew that I shouldn't stand or try to stand.
The rescue of Stephanie Coolshed was the 73rd that year out of a total of 95 in 2019, which was actually quite a light year. Stephanie's call-out was a typical call-out for us in that it was a lower leg injury. That's maybe 40%, maybe more of the call-outs that we have.
So I just shouted help, and the person in front of me just turned around and said, "Are you okay?" And I just went, "No," because I really knew by then that I wasn't.
It's one of the trickier routes that we have on our patch. It's quite steep ground, and there's a steep-sided, narrow valley with a gill running down the middle of it, a steep stream.
The other complication was that where we were, there was no phone signal at all. So my friend's daughter is a fell runner, and she's the fastest runner in the group. So she ran down to get to a phone, a landline or something down in the valley. So we sent her down to phone for mountain rescue.
When the call came, Gordon and the team dropped what they were doing and raced to the site.
So we waited. It felt like forever. It was probably a couple of hours from when I fell to when we saw those really welcome red jackets coming up the hill towards us.
Gordon was in the second vehicle to arrive on the scene, and he called up to the advanced team.
And when we arrived on scene, the guys from First Truck had done a good job of assessing the nature of the injuries and treating them accordingly. And they'd already given her pain relief and splinted her limb. So all we had to do really was help package her. So put the stretcher together, make sure she's all wrapped up warmly, and then attach her to the stretcher so she's not going to fall out of it.
There was they strapped me into the stretcher really tightly. And then there was a kind of perspex hood thing that came down over my face, obviously to protect me from any, if any stones got knocked or anything like that.
It's tricky ground at the top. It's very steep and grassy and quite slippy, so we can drag the sledge along the ground to begin with, which saves us a lot of effort. And we did that for the first 50, 100 metres, but then we came to a stream and we had to carry her through and over the stream. And that's always a place where you focus the mind. You don't want to drop the stretcher at that point and have it tobogganing down the mountain. That wouldn't look good. So we carried her through that, and then from there on down, it's pretty steep, quite narrow, and it's stony, so we have to carry the stretcher there.
And everything they did, it felt like it was really well rehearsed, and everyone knew exactly what to say and exactly what to do, and it just all clicked into place. And that was one of the things that felt really reassuring.
And within sort of 20, 25 minutes, we were down on the bottom of the fell and able to then drag her again over a couple of fields to the stretcher, to the ambulance that was waiting by the bridge.
Stephanie was taken to hospital, where she had surgery the following day. Now recovered, she's hugely grateful to the mountain rescue team.
Well, I guess if I was to have them sitting in front of me now, I mean, obviously I'd say like a massive thank you, but I'd also say, that they have, well, for me anyway, they had exactly the right kind of mix of being totally professional, but also being really down to earth and friendly. And the combination of those two things just made me feel really safe.
Mountain rescue is a serious business. Mountain rescue volunteers train in some of Europe's most difficult conditions, learning to use specialised equipment and technology, and even working with trained rescue dogs. And they do all this so they're ready to go when the call comes. The magnificent Lake District landscape invites adventure. But when you come, as the mountain rescue team say, be adventure smart. Come prepared, check the weather, and only attempt an activity within your capabilities.